You dirty old man.
On the surface, Steptoe and Son is a sitcom, one of Britain's finest. A father and son scraping a living in the rag and bone trade, constantly at each other's throats, their daily battles providing endless amusement.
What's that? B-U-M, bum.
But beneath the laughter, Steptoe and Son was a show filled with despair, frustration, and the crushing weight of inescapable circumstances. It didn't just use dark themes for dramatic effect. It made them the very core of its humour. Poverty, loneliness, old age, and resentment. These weren't just background elements, they were the joke. And yet, the series never let go of the underlying tragedy that made these moments so real.
Do you know what I've had to eat today? Half a carrot. I had to fight to get that out of the horse's mouth.
Today, we explore the darkest themes Steptoe and Son tackled, and how, against all odds, it found humour in the bleakest of places.
Another week like this and I'm turning it in. Do you know how much I've made this week? 30 bob. It costs more than that to run the horse.
Poverty in Steptoe and Son isn't just a setting, it's a prison. Harold Steptoe is a man desperate to better himself, to escape his father's shadow, to rise above the filth and squalor of their junkyard. He reads, he aspires, he dreams, but no matter how hard he tries, something always pulls him back. And more often than not, that something is Albert. Take the episode Steptoe and Son and Son. Harold believes he has fathered a child.
Well, I wanted to see him about this.
What's he got to do with that?
He's the father.
For a brief, shining moment, he sees a way out, a future beyond the junkyard, beyond the endless cycle of frustration. But the dream is short-lived.
What do you mean?
It's true, Harold. It wasn't you, it was me.
The revelation that the child isn't his sends him spiralling straight back to where he started. It's cruel, it's painful, but it's also funny. Because Harold's life is a farce. His suffering played out on screen for our amusement
You are, of course, invited to the wedding, Harold. In fact, I'd like you to be the best man.
is the foundation of the show's humour. The joke is that he can never win. And yet, it's the kind of joke that leaves you feeling just a little hollow after the laughter fades.
Nice of you to stay home and keep me company, Harold.
Both Harold and Albert are profoundly lonely, but in completely different ways. Albert clings to his son, terrified of being left to grow old alone. Harold, on the other hand, is desperate for love.
Start asking questions. Hello, where's Harold? Oh, he's gone to Mallorca to enjoy himself and left you all alone.
For companionship, for anyone who can take him away from this life. And yet, every time he gets close to happiness, it's cruelly snatched away. In Any Old Iron, Harold befriends Timothy Stanhope, an elderly antique dealer. Harold is drawn to Timothy's cultured demeanour and sees an opportunity for intellectual companionship.
Realise that what Timothy and I have is a straightforward, aesthetic and platonic relationship.
Unbeknownst to Harold, Timothy harbours romantic intentions towards him. Albert perceives Timothy's true intentions and cautions Harold.
Good night, Father. Don't wait up for me. All right, go!
But Harold dismisses his father's warnings and visits Timothy's flat, leading to an uncomfortable realisation. This episode delves into themes of loneliness and the human desire for meaningful connections.
Oh yes, it's the first thing I notice about people, their hands. Yours are exceptionally fine, such sensitive fingers.
Harold's yearning for companionship blinds him to Timothy's advances, while Albert's protective instincts highlight the complexities of their father-son relationship. The humour arises from Harold's naivety and the situational misunderstandings, underscoring the show's ability to tackle delicate subjects with comedic finesse.
I like it the way it is.
Well, I don't. When was this place last decorated out?
After the war.
Aging in Steptoe and Son isn't romanticised. It's something to be feared. Albert, the embodiment of the past, clings desperately to life, resisting change, refusing to acknowledge his own frailty.
I ain't going. I've got my own home and my own food and my own son.
Harold, on the other hand, sees old age as a terrifying inevitability, a fate he is desperately trying to avoid, but one that looms ever closer.
These geriatric gymnastics has got us stuck.
Yeah.
The episode, Divided We Stand, showcases this fear perfectly. Harold attempts to split the house in two, believing that physical separation will finally give him some independence. But instead of liberation, it only leads to more chaos.
Put the belly back on! All right, let go.
More frustration, more absurdity. The humour lies in the sheer ridiculousness of the situation.
Oh God, my guns are shank.
But at its core, this episode is about something deeply human.
I'm just not putting up with this filth any longer. Unless something is done about it, As we're forced to make alternative arrangements.
Do what you like.
The fear that no matter how much we fight, we may never escape the things that hold us back. That one day we'll look in the mirror and realise we've become exactly what we feared.
No dirty jokes, best behaviour, and no effing and blinding.
Few sitcoms have captured resentment quite like Steptoe and Son. Harold and Albert don't just argue, they hate each other at times.
Your very presence tends to impinge upon my aesthetic moments.
Albert resents Harold's aspirations, seeing them as a threat to his own security.
You're just bringing down the value of the property.
Harold resents Albert for every opportunity lost, every chance at happiness stolen away.
Another 5 million sack like that, we could retire. What do you fancy, Santa France?
What's good about it?
In Live Now, P-A-Y-E Later, the show delivers one of its most absurd yet telling moments about the depths of Albert's cunning and Harold's frustration. When Albert realises he could claim a backdated pension for his deceased wife, he doesn't just fill out forms, he dresses up as a woman and attempts to impersonate her.
Very unusual woman, your mother.
You don't know how unusual.
The image of Wilfrid Bramble in drag, playing up the disguise to absurd levels, provides one of the show's most ridiculous visual gags. But beneath the laughter, there's a deeper truth. Albert will do absolutely anything to scrape together money, no matter how undignified.
Take that silly hat and that wig off! You look like old Mama Riley!
And Harold is left to watch, powerless to stop the farce from unfolding. The dynamic here is classic Steptoe and Son. Harold, humiliated by association, yet somehow always roped into Albert's schemes. This isn't just about fraud.
My daughter, the one I've been climbing for, she works for me. I've been giving her 12 quid a week.
It's about control. Even in moments where Harold should be asserting himself, Albert remains the dominant force, manipulating the situation to his own ends. The humour here is broad, but the underlying message remains the same. Harold may dream of a different life, but he will always be shackled to his father, whether he likes it or not.
Artful? What did I do?
You told me the woman stepped you down!
So why do we laugh? Why do we find humour in Harold's suffering?
I've not had a fag for a fortnight.
Well, I had some dog ends you could roll up.
In Albert's cruelty?
Eat the ticket and stick it in the car seat.
In the crushing weight of their lives, because Steptoe and Son understood something crucial. Sometimes life is so unbearably cruel that all you can do is laugh. The show didn't just use dark themes, it embraced them, made them the very foundation of its comedy. It didn't sugarcoat poverty, loneliness, or bitterness. It didn't offer easy solutions or happy endings.
You big overgrown kid!
That serves you right, you lazy little turd!
It simply held up a mirror to life and said, this is how it is. Miserable, unfair, absurd. Now laugh. And maybe that's why, after all these years, Steptoe and Son still resonates. Because in its darkness, in its tragedy, it told the truth. And it reminded us that even in our lowest moments, there's still room for humour, even if it's the kind that makes us wince as we laugh. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations of classic British comedy.
Best set of teeth I ever had, these are.
It's the most revolting thing I've ever seen.